Okay, hang on. All right, so we've done all of them,
Yeah.
and we're moving on to, what are we moving on to?
Well, after the rallies, we all progressed as where I went sprint racing and we call it road racing. Who could get to Silverstone fast enough in those days? All totally illegal. And we had a succession of me and my friends of pretty fast cars, and Jenny competed against the modern Jaguars because there was no breathalyzer or anything, and every halfway there was a pub going. We used to leave at 5:30 in the morning. Who could get fast to Silverstone? Different routes, no motorway or anything like that because I'm 80. Anyway, my interest. I had several fast cars. I was involved with the Delahaye. I was involved with Lagonda. I didn't own those. I half owned the Delahaye. But I got onto a car now. So there's a Bristol for sale, a Bristol 400, built by some engineer. And the Bristol 400 was for the Bristol Aeroplane Company. There she is there. This is all out of the books. That's the whole history of how they entered motor racing, because the Bristol Aeroplane Company was part of the war. We built all the aircraft and engines, millions of them.
Okay.
And then they decided to go in car production with the Bristol 400, but these are later. So 1954 404.
Oh, yeah.
Short, highly desirable now. Mine I had, but I bought it with my father. There it is there. That wasn't the one, but they only made 42, 44 of them. It's in Sydney, Australia. We totally rebuilt. Putting it on a price now, I mean, I think we bought one via the factory, via a race driver. His name was Tommy Thomas, famous race driver. He had two of them, and he let us have one for 800 quid. Then it went to 8,000 quid. Now it's over $1 million.
What year did you have it?
Oh, it's 70. In the 70s, that'll do.
Okay.
So we go to that. The most famous ones of all were. No, we're going to go back. That is going back to ERA. That is the G-type ERA post-war, and that is Sterling Moss driving the G-type, which is not a particularly pretty-looking car, but incredibly fast, underdeveloped. And the Bristol engine was a very, very reliable unit used in Cooper, Kiev, Lister. We all used the engine because it was based on a pre-war 328 BMW. It was very well thought of because they had to bring the designers when they were building these cars over from Germany. There was Dr. Fiedler, Schleiter, I think Porsche was involved, and they were all in prison. So without Bristol cars, there would have been no BMW post-war, because the factory was totally destroyed. Anyway, the G-type ERA, from that company up there, was a post-war car using the Bristol engine. The boss said the brakes were incredible, but it wasn't powerful enough against the Ferraris or Maseratis at the time. And the engine was totally unreliable because they bloody well put it at a 45-degree angle to lower the bonnet line. But that was okay. Boss, there he is. They sold the G-type to Bristol, and that's the Bristol 450, one of the most famous cars they ever built. There it is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is here's the team at Le Mans. They were the fastest coupes because they were an aircraft company. It was all aerodynamically built, none of it done by computers. You can see the fins on the back. They used to put string and apparently cotton wool balls to get the wind tunnel testing. It was all old methods. It'll be all done by bloody computer today, which is all bullshit in my opinion. Anyway, there's the team. They were as fast, almost as fast as the D-types, which Stirling drove the D-types down the Muslan Strait, because these cars were aerodynamic, where the D-types were nearly off the road if there was a wind. They had to take some driving. They were 3.5 litre Jaguar engines against, this was a 2 litre engine. It was almost as quick. They won countless records. Unfortunately, they weren't involved in the smash in 1954, where all those people were killed with a Mercedes. Lance Macklin drove one of these cars, and he was responsible, or one of them that said he was the blame for that accident, because he was driving a Triumph, a car, and his name was Le Havre, something like that. Clipped him and went into the crowd and killed 80 people. The most horrific accident. You can see all this on your phone. There's upwards to 120 people, possibly 20 of them apparently poor devils were never even found. They were all incinerated with the magnesium fire. Anyway, enough of that. That was the 450. They kept one as an example and had to scrap the rest for tax reasons, or it was a normal thing. They didn't want them to get in the wrong hands because you had all this technology. You could use that car to go to Sainsbury's because it was very flexible. But the early ones, there were a problem with the motor. They had to redesign the motor completely with a different crankshaft. The thing was apparently, so they say, was all tested to almost 10,000 revs. They were using 7,000 or 7,500 revs. Capable of that car possibly as fast as anything, 170, God knows. It depended. They were incredibly hard and hot to drive because they were in a coupe. People, they were cooked to death. But the final ones were open cars. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm getting tired. There's the history of Bristol. That'll do.